The $1 trillion lie. We keep telling Black women founders, welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Before we dive in, I need to tell you about someone extraordinary. Someone who is not just talking about change, but building it with their bare hands, one conversation, one connection, one courageous act at a time. Joshlyn Jamison is a visionary advocate, entrepreneur, and change maker who is reshaping the entire narrative around Black women founders in North America. They are not waiting for permission. They are not asking politely. They are kicking down doors that have been locked for far too long. And what they shared with me recently stopped me dead in my tracks. Their work is a beacon for those of us who have been told to hustle harder, to prove ourselves more, to carry the weight of entire communities on our backs, while the doors to capital, networks, and opportunity remain sealed shut. Jocelyn is forcing those doors wide open. And what they revealed is something every single one of us needs to hear, to feel, and to act on. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been told a story so many times that you started to believe it was true, even when the evidence in front of you screamed otherwise? We've been told a story. A story that says if you work hard enough, if you're smart enough, if you're resilient enough, you will make it. And Black women, we believed that story with our whole hearts. We hustled, we built, we created, we poured our brilliance, our creativity, our sweat, our savings, our sleep, our sanity into ventures that could change the world. Between 2017 and 2022, Black women owned employer businesses in the United States grew by 71.6%. 71.6%. That is faster than any other demographic group in the entire country. We are starting businesses at record rates, launching dreams that should be backed by billions. But here's what they do not tell you. Here is the part that Jocelyn made painfully, devastatingly clear. Despite that explosive growth, despite that undeniable momentum, Black women founders received less than 0.2% of all venture capital funding in Canada. Less than 0.2%. And in the United States, the numbers are not much better. We are building empires on crumbs. We are scaling businesses with our own money, our own networks, our own sheer force of will. While the systems that are supposed to support entrepreneurship, the venture capitalists, the accelerators, the so called gatekeepers of innovation, continue to overlook us, underestimate us, and catastrophically underfund us. Let that sink in for a moment. And so, growth does not equal access. That is the first thing Jocelyn wants us to burn into our minds. We look at the statistics and we celebrate, and we absolutely should celebrate, but we cannot, we must not mistake visibility for equity. We cannot mistake hustle for opportunity. Black women are starting businesses faster than anyone else, but we remain drastically underfunded and underrepresented in the very networks and investment circles that could amplify our impact tenfold, a hundredfold. We are building in the margins, in the shadows, in the cracks of a system that was never designed for us. And the cost of that, the cost to us, to our families, to our communities, to the entire economy, it is staggering. North America is losing trillions, trillions in unrealized economic potential because we refuse to invest in Black women founders the way we invest in everyone else. Now, let me tell you about Sheena Brady. Sheena is a Black woman entrepreneur in Toronto who launched Tea's Tea, a wellness tea brand that speaks to the soul, that nurtures the body, that represents everything beautiful about what Black women can create when given even half a chance. She had a vision, she had a plan, she had a product that people loved, she had everything except the one thing that most startups need to scale: funding. Sheena went to investors. She pitched her heart out. She walked into room after room armed with data, passion, and a business model that made sense. And she was met with rejection after rejection after rejection. Not because her idea was not good, not because she was not capable, but because the systems were not built for her. The rooms were not designed to see her. The capital was not allocated with her in mind. So Sheena did what so many of us do. She self funded. She poured $100,000 of her own money into T's Tea. $100,000. Money that could have gone toward her retirement, her children's education, her own rest. She built an online community from scratch. She sought out mentorship from local networks that understood her struggle. She bootstrapped her way to national retail partnerships, major media recognition, and eventually she launched a mentorship program for other women entrepreneurs who were walking the same lonely, exhausting road she had walked. Sheena's story is a triumph, yes, but it is also a tragedy because Sheena should not have had to risk everything. She should not have had to drain her savings. She should not have had to go it alone. And yet, that is the reality for so many Black women founders. We are told to be resilient, to be resourceful, to make a way out of no way, and we do. But here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud: resilience should not be a prerequisite for funding. Resourcefulness should not be a substitute for institutional support. We should not have to be superheroes just to get a seat at a table that everyone else walks up to freely. Joshlyn reminded me that systemic barriers persist, and they are not abstract concepts we discuss in academic papers. They are real, they are measurable, they are crushing the life out of brilliant women every single day. Black women face limited access to capital, limited access to professional networks, and a devastating lack of tailored support programs that understand our unique challenges. And for Black mothers, the barriers multiply exponentially. Childcare costs consume business revenue before it even hits the bank account. Networking events happen at times when we are picking up our kids from school or putting them to bed. Accelerator programs do not account for the fact that we are running our businesses and running households, often without the support systems that other entrepreneurs take for granted, that they do not even have to think about. Let me introduce you to the Mompreneur Collective. This is a network of Black women entrepreneurs in Toronto who are also mothers, and they came together because they realized they were all facing the same impossible, soul crushing choice: build your business or be present for your family. They were missing networking events not because they did not care, but because they could not afford childcare. They were burning out, not because they were not strong enough, but because the systems that were supposed to support them did not see them, did not account for them, did not design programs with them in mind. So they pooled their resources. They advocated for flexible accelerator programs. They collaborated with co working spaces to offer childcare. They developed virtual support groups that met them where they were. They successfully lobbied for evening event childcare. They launched a digital resource hub. They increased the visibility of Black mother entrepreneurs in local media, forcing the conversation into spaces that had been ignoring them for decades. The Mompreneur Collective did not wait for the system to change. They changed it themselves. And that is the story of Black women in entrepreneurship. We do not wait. We build, we create, we advocate, we transform. But here's the question that should haunt every single person listening to this: why should we have to? Why should Black women be the ones doing the work to dismantle the barriers that were never ours to begin with? Why are we the ones carrying the weight of systemic change on top of everything else we are already carrying? Jocelyn's third insight is the one that gives me hope. And it is the one that should light a fire under all of us. Collective action is crucial. Real progress, the kind that does not just celebrate individual success stories, but transforms entire ecosystems, requires intentional efforts from investors, from policymakers, from corporations, from support organizations. It requires all of us to show up differently. It requires us to ask hard, uncomfortable questions. Who are we funding? Who are we mentoring? Who are we inviting into the room? And if Black women are not in that room, why not? What are we going to do about it? And when are we going to start? Because here's the truth that we need to face head on. The growth of Black women owned businesses is not happening because the system is working. It is happening in spite of the system. Between 2017 and 2022, we saw that 71.6% increase. And it was driven by Black women who were tired of waiting for permission, tired of being overlooked, tired of being told no, tired of being invisible. So we said yes to ourselves. We leveraged digital platforms. We built community where none existed. We bypassed the gatekeepers who refused to open the gates. And we created our own pathways, our own networks, our own definitions of success. But the overall share of Black women owned employer businesses is still disproportionately low. We are still a fraction of the total. And that tells us in the clearest possible terms that the structural barriers are still there, still strong, still suffocating the full potential of what we could achieve if we had equitable access to funding, networks, and opportunities. Joshlyn's work and the work of advocates like them is about more than just opening doors. It is about dismantling the walls. It is about creating ecosystems where Black women do not have to be superhuman to succeed, where we do not have to self fund our dreams, where we do not have to choose between our businesses and our families, where softness, rest, and boundaries are not luxuries but foundations, where we can build without breaking ourselves in the process. And that brings me back to why we are here on Soft Girl Era. Because this conversation about Black women founders is not separate from our journey to softness. It is at the heart of it. For too long, we have been told that strength means carrying it all, doing it all, being it all, sacrificing it all. We have been told that if we want something, we have to work twice as hard, be twice as good, and never, ever ask for help. We have been told that rest is for the weak, that boundaries are selfish, that softness is a luxury we cannot afford. But what if that is a lie? What if the real revolution is in refusing to carry what was never ours to carry? What if the real power isn't saying, I deserve support, I deserve funding, I deserve rest, and I am not going to apologize for it? Not today, not ever. Sheena Brady did not just build a business, she built a movement. The Mompreneur Collective did not just solve their own problems, they created a blueprint for systemic change. And Joshlyn Jamison is not just advocating for Black women founders, they are rewriting the rules of what entrepreneurship can and should look like. They are proving that when we invest in Black women, when we support Black women, when we create space for Black women, everybody wins. So here's what I need you to hear: your soft girl era is not about giving up, it is about giving yourself permission. Permission to ask for what you need, permission to set boundaries that protect your peace, permission to rest without guilt, permission to build a business and a life that does not require you to sacrifice your health, your joy, or your sanity. Because the world needs what you have to offer, but it needs you whole, rested, supported, and free. Now, I want to leave you with a challenge, not a gentle suggestion, but a real tangible challenge that demands action. If you are an investor, commit to funding at least one Black woman led startup this year. Do not wait for the perfect pitch. Seek them out. If you are a policymaker, Advocate for programs that provide childcare support for entrepreneurs. Make flexibility the standard, not the exception. If you are a corporate leader, create mentorship opportunities that are accessible, intentional, and designed with Black women in mind. If you are a community member, amplify the work of Black women founders, share their stories, buy their products, champion their brilliance in every room you enter. And if you are a Black woman founder yourself, hear this: you are not alone. Your struggle is not your fault. You do not have to do this by yourself. There are collectives, there are advocates, there are people like Joshlyn who are fighting for you. And there is a community of women right here who see you, who celebrate you, and who are ready to support you. The question Joshlyn left me with is the question I'm leaving you with today. How will you use your influence, whether as an investor, policymaker, entrepreneur, or community member, to help break down the barriers that keep Black women founders from accessing the funding, networks, and opportunities they deserve? Because this is not just about business, this is about justice, this is about equity, this is about recognizing that when Black women thrive, communities thrive, economies thrive, futures thrive. So, what will you do? Not tomorrow, not next week, today, right now. What is one action you can take to support a Black woman founder? What is one boundary you can set to protect your own peace? What is one way you can step into your soft girl era and refuse to carry what was never yours to carry? The world is waiting, and so are we.